Hey, everybody. Hope everyone is doing well. And so, a couple things. One, I'm going to go to, well, two things before I start this little mini series. So, I do, as generally almost all of you that I'd imagine that listen to me on YouTube, you listen to me for the end of day reviews. And I generally do that. I always do that either in the trading room or on the Brooks Trading Course YouTube channel. And so what I've been thinking about is I really like I enjoy the end of day reviews. Those are a lot of fun, and I'm going to keep doing that. But there's I've been thinking about wanting to talk about other things. So what are some of those other aspects to trading that are besides price action? So going forward, this is known as the hard truth, and these are going to be just little mini series over trading topics that I want to cover. Some of them will be 5 minutes. Some of them in the future might be an hour. But again, there's not going to be any price action related content as far as bar by bar analysis. So go to the Brooks Trading Course YouTube channel if you want to find some information on that. So why did I label this the hard truth? Are you a trader or a hobbyist? And I think there's kind of three categories of people that get interested in trading. One is, they're very serious about trading, and they are, they're business oriented with trading. The others are more or less, they're very serious about trading, but they're not treating it as a business. And then the other category is the hobbyist. They looked at trading on the internet because they saw some YouTuber talk about trading and how you can do all these wonderful things. And they thought, well, gee, why not? I'll study something for 10 minutes and I'll become an expert. We all know the hobbyist is going to fail. So for those of you out there that are hopeful that you're going to figure out trading in the next 5 minutes or the next 30 days, I would highly, highly suggest you stop focusing on trading because you're probably not going to make it. That's just the simple truth. If you're interested in trading for the sheer enjoyment of trading, in other words, it's exciting, it's kind of like you're at a casino throwing the dice, you really, really should stop. So really what I want to talk about is the middle category. That middle category, let me just turn the air down here. The middle category, I see them as they have every intention of becoming really, really good traders. They're hardworking, they're very driven. They will spend literally all their free time studying charts. However, there's one key thing that I think those traders are missing. And what they're missing is treating trading like a business. And therefore, by default, they become a hobbyist. So what do I mean by that? I think everybody's heard the basically saying that trading is a business. And one of the things I thought about recently when I was having a conversation with someone was, if you think about traders, you should think about trading from the standpoint of an institution. Think about trading from the standpoint of, if someone was going to give me $1 million or $10 million to trade, what would I do? How would I go about it? So let's pretend, just pretend for a second that you got you open an account and all of a sudden there's $10 million in that account. Now, obviously, it's not your money, and therefore it's someone else's money, and there's obviously expectations behind it. So if you had tomorrow $10 million in a trading account or an investment account, what would you do? Would you trade the exact same way as you did yesterday or today? My suspicion is you absolutely would not. So why is that? Because all of a sudden in your mind, trading would now be a business. You would say, oh, this is real. So think about that for a second. I'm very curious for those of you that are listening, post in the comment. When you think about trading, do you have metrics for yourself with trading? And if so, what are those metrics? So I'm going to give everyone a second. What are some trading metrics you focus on when you're trading? How do you know if you actually had a good trading day or a bad trading day? Any ideas? For some people, they think about P&L and they think about, oh, if I had a profitable trading day, then that's a good day. And the reality is, that's not a good way to look at it. And I've said that several times in the trading room. I've mentioned that on some of my intraday reviews. You have to have metrics behind the way that you're trading. And what I mean by that is, just like any business, a business is obviously going to look at their performance from a standpoint of, did they make money or lose money? But the reality is, a business is also going to have other metrics they're gonna keep track of. So when you're trading, you have to think about things like what's a good profit factor. In other words, thinking through what are systems in your trading. So there's one main takeaway today in this, and that's this. Think about your trading from the standpoint of, do I have any metrics that I follow at the end of the day? And if you have zero metrics and you have no way to truly rate your day, then you got to think about, is that even ideal? The other thing to think about is this. What's your environment like when you're trading? For some people, obviously, you're dealing with you have some sort of job or you're stuck with, you can't just trade on your own. So JP, no metrics. So think about that for a second. If you have zero metrics in your trading, what is that going to do for you? Let me see if I can pull up. Now I'll pull it up here in a second. No metrics means that you really don't have a business. You have no way of actually knowing if you're on the right path or on the wrong path. And that's the issue. That is the difference maker between traders that make it long term and traders that don't. The other thing I want to talk about is your environment with trading. Do you have a trading environment that's suitable? And what I mean by that is, if you were to look at yourself in the mirror, so go back to your last trade or your last trading moments, and I want you to ask yourself, if I was at a hedge fund or some sort of prop firm, would I be approved of what I was doing and the way I was doing it? Am I in gym shorts and a t-shirt, watching TV, trading whatever I'm trading? Or, do I have something reasonable on, and do I actually have a serious look on my face? Alexandro says no. JP, I was never a business guy. Probably don't have this mentality. Yeah, well, if you don't have this mentality, then you may not want to be trading. It's just the honest truth. So, what are the key takeaways that I want to talk about with this? You have to have a trading plan. You got to have a method of trading. And this video is really not about the method of trading. I've talked about that a lot. If you want my help with it, you can go to the link below, systemsacademy.com. You can check out the application and we can have a conversation about it. But as far as a trading plan goes, you've got to have some method. Breakouts and second legs, that's a wonderful method. That's a good method. Something along the lines of that. But what I'm talking about is more of the business side of things. And so I really, really can't stress it enough. The more, in a perfect world, which I know not everybody can do this, but in a perfect world, you have to have some means of a trading atmosphere. So I've actually, for example, the best thing you could do is have one physical location and one desk for your trading, one computer. And when you're trading, you have your trader hat on. And when you're doing anything else, you're not allowed to do that. And I'm actually running an experiment on that right now. I have this office. You've seen these behind me all the time. And it's actually really inconvenient. But what I'm doing is I'm only doing trading related tasks in here. And I'm going to see, does that help? Does that make me more focused as an individual? Which I have a strong suspicion it probably will, because we all are human and we get distracted. How would you identify what a useful metric is with setups and performance? That's a great question. Well, what do you think? So who can help out? What's a useful metric that we can use? I want to give everybody just a couple of seconds here. And while we're thinking about this for a second, one of the other things that traders do where they really kind of drop the ball and make a mistake is they have no idea, they kind of fail before they even begin. And the reason they fail before they begin is because basically they're just hoping that all of a sudden they're going to just become magically profitable without thinking in a systematic or step-by-step approach. MS says Z-score. This person says R multiples and traders equation. MS says learning trade types. Those are all good methods for sure. But here's the thing, trade types. I talked about Andrew Miniker, who I think, overall coined that ideal. But how do you measure a trade type? How do you actually do that? And the problem is those are all really good things to have. But, even for example, quality, trader's equation is what I think this person's getting at. Well, you might trade major trend reversals, and that's a winning strategy, but it loses most of the time. You may trade breakouts and second legs and need a really high win rate. Without understanding what the system that you're trading, all these pieces don't matter. But all of these pieces, understanding how you basically measure the performance is critical. So for some of you, you have a system. And so really, I want to kind of narrow the focus group of the people I'm trying to talk to in this video. Some of you actually have a reasonable, trading plan or trading method, but the execution of the plan is actually really bad. So I'm curious for those of you in here, how many of you guys have a trading plan and you cannot follow it 100% of the time? That I'd be curious of. And one of the reasons you can't follow it 100% of the time is you're too relaxed in your trading environment. It's not a business to you. Yeah, something that can be measured and repeatable over time. Absolutely. That has to be a way to measure your trading. He says, that is me. Yeah. You really have to have, this sounds really simple. And for some of you, you know, I almost feel making this video like I'm just every other person on YouTube talking about a really simple subject and, just fluffing with trading. And what I mean by that is you go on trading, it always kind of humors me. You go on YouTube, I get blasted every day with YouTube trading ads just because of the Brooks Trading Course channel that I put videos on, this channel. It's like everything's targeted as a YouTube ad. And what really humors me is when you watch them, it's always something really, really simple. Treat your trading like a business. You got to have the right mentality. And for the most part, they're right. But on the other hand, I think a lot of them are kind of just, they're fluffing their knowledge of trading by talking about that. But the reason I really want to, really try and drive this conversation home is for some of you, you actually have a reasonable trading method and trading plan, but you're not following it. And one of the reasons you may not be following it is one, you don't have a business mentality with trading. Think about it like this. How many of you, this will be a fun little question. How many of you in here use prop firms that you pay, $20 and get a account, whatever you call it? You have a prop firm, you pay $20 and you get like a performance account. And if you pass it, maybe you'll make money. How many of you use that? I'm going to give everyone, 10, 15 seconds to answer that question. Okay. Is Alexandra and JP, you have it. This person has it. So here's my next question for you three. What happened when did you ever fail an account? And what happened after you failed? Did you just go buy another account? In other words, what's the penalty for you failing? There's no penalty. That's one of the big problems with home traders. And that was something I had a conversation with someone and it really kind of dawned on me the other day. The reason institutional traders have a higher probability of success than the retail trader, assuming the knowledge is the same. I mean, those of you watching the Brooks Trading Course, I firmly believe that information is far superior than, probably 90% of institutional trading knowledge out there. But the difference is this. The institutional trader, if they fail, they'll get fired. So if they overtrade or if they break their rules, they're fired. They're done. It's game over. No more seat at the table. The retail trader, if they don't follow the rules, they can always try again tomorrow. So this is my really kind of one big question for you all on this video. What happens if you fail? What happens if you don't follow your rules tomorrow? Do you just get to try again like nothing happened? What's the real consequence? It's not a business. That's the problem. Real businesses, think about starting any major business. You get a lease for a building, you buy equipment. There's a real, life or death with failure in that. You could actually go bankrupt and fail. And you could do the same thing with trading. But the point is this, the more serious you are with your trading, the more you really have a business plan, the more you really understand how you're going to go about that business plan, the better off you're going to be. It's funny. I had an individual last year in Systems Academy, really, really bright, knows a lot about price action. And, what's kind of humorous is they were having trouble, looking back, they're having a lot of trouble kind of building. This was not just one individual, it was really kind of a couple of them. They had trouble building their system. And it's not that they couldn't build it, but they had trouble really actually sticking to it and following it. And one of these individuals who's had trouble in the past, they've had their system for a little bit of time and they get like 2 or 3 trades a day. And what's funny to me is they recently reached out and told me that they had like 10% for that month with just taking these 1 or 2 trades. And they were really frustrated by it because they were saying, oh, well, it's not the amount of trades that I want, but they were saying, wow, actually I followed my plan, I followed my rules, and all of a sudden this thing worked. It actually made money. The reason for that is they had their trading plan, they had their trading system. I kind of see that as the same thing. And then they implemented and executed the system. So with trading, you've got to have a method of trading. It's got to be reasonable. And then the other thing is you've got to have metrics to make sure you're in line with that system. And I just can't stress that enough. I think that's one of the things that just really holds people back. They know how to trade, they know a method of trading, but they don't stick to it. And they don't stick to it because it's not a business. It's kind of like if I told you tomorrow, okay, I'll give you $1 million of trading capital. Obviously it's hypothetical, but if someone was going to tell you, okay, I'll give you $1 million of trading capital, all you have to do is build a system, build a trading plan, and prove to me that you can stick to it. In other words, give me a business plan, give me the metrics behind that particular trading strategy. And if you can prove that those metrics are reasonably accurate, I'll give you money. That's what hedge funds do. That's what prop firms do. That's what all these major institutions do. But why is it that retail traders don't always do that? They don't always do it because they don't want to do that. And they don't want to do it because that means they're giving up freedom. When you're trading, tomorrow you're going to be stuck with a decision. So for those of you that are going to trade tomorrow, you're going to get to sit there. And for those of you in the trading room, I'm sure you'll get to, I don't remember who. Anyways, for those of you tomorrow, you'll be trading and you'll have a decision. You'll be free to do whatever you want as soon as the market. You can do whatever you want right now. And the market's open. You can buy, you can sell, you can scale in, literally whatever you want. No one's going to stop you. So you'll be left with the decision. Are you willing to truly give up freedom for a known outcome? What I mean by that is, are you willing to follow a system for at least a more known outcome at the end of a day, month, quarter, year, than just flying by the seat of your pants and seeing what happens? That's really, really true. By sticking to a plan, you mean what? We shouldn't try and trade all market cycles? It's not at all what I mean. Daniel, what I'm saying is, what is your trading strategy? Like tomorrow, if you don't know what your trading strategy is, then I can almost assure you, and this is for anyone in here, if you don't know what your actual trading strategy is, you're probably losing money long term. And if you know what your trading strategy is and you're not following it, you're probably losing money. So what's this whole point? This whole point is this. I'll give everybody a challenge. Let's try a challenge. I want you to all to think about something like a 3-bar bull micro channel or a 3-bar bear micro channel. And I want you to think of a filter for the moving average. Use the moving average to define if it's in a trend or a trading range. And I want you to think about a reasonable method of trading 3-bar micro channels. Once you do that, here's what I want you to practice. I want you to practice having a very strict requirement for trading. In other words, force yourself to be dressed a certain way. Force yourself to have a certain routine that is a requirement in order to trade. For those of you that have the luxury of getting to trade from home and your schedule is a little bit flexible, I would definitely make this challenge for you guys. Can you all build a trading plan, trading system? Can you backtest it? Can you prove it works? And then, after all that's said and done, can you give yourself trading metrics? And then once you have trading metrics, can you actually follow those metrics? The easiest way to follow those metrics is to have some sort of trading routine, if you will. I'm only going to trade in this environment with this computer, with this setup, and I've got to be wearing this set of clothing. And it sounds ridiculous, but it's true. There's a reason why businesses don't let their employees go to work in gym shorts and t-shirts at the office for many reasons. And if you're trading and you're trying to start your own business, you are your own business. Why would you wear gym shorts and t-shirts to the office? So that's just a really kind of big thing I want to leave you with. Someone asked 3 consecutive bull/bear bars, or can it be bull and bear bars as long as it's a micro channel? I don't know. That's part of the thing you'd have to study and you'd really have to figure out. You can do both, but my whole point is, can you make the game plan? I've actually made a couple of these videos through the past couple of months. And what's funny to me is I've challenged people to build me a system, build me a trading plan, send it to me. And so far, nobody has actually sent me a system. So I've challenged you all the same way. For most of you, if you go to the Brooks Trading Course Discord channel, you can generally find me there. Send me a message if you actually have a trading plan. I'd love to see it. Is it reasonable to have a plan to trade all market cycles? Of course. Al Brooks has a plan to trade all market cycles. The point is, and this is kind of what I'll leave you with. After this, or while I'm talking, go to your performance report or performance history for your trading platform. And I want you to look at, do it right now. Go to your performance report, look up last week or the week before, and let me know what your profit factor is. I'd be very curious to see. What's your profit factor? It's your gross profit divided by your gross losses. Do you have a profit factor of 1? Do you have a profit factor of 2? If you have a profit factor of 1, you're profitable. But what it means is there's a lot of volatility there's probably going to be a lot of variation or volatility in the performance. In other words, there's the high risk of deep drawdowns. Or do you have a profit factor of 5, profit factor of 6? That's going to be a much better metric. So I'd be curious right now, everybody, go and look at your profit factor. Go and pull it up. So thank you for being brave. Sina says, I'm almost 1. And for one, I want to commend you for actually bringing that up. Your profit factor is a 1. What that means is you're just barely profitable. And that means that equity curve has a risk of doing this. So drawdowns can be right around the corner for you at any given moment. And therefore, if you have deep drawdowns, you cannot be surprised because your profit factor is 1. I have a weird problem. If I make 3 or 4% profit, then my risk tolerance goes 0 and I start to overtrade and take lots of smaller trades. This is actually a wonderful example. And I love it right here because what this tells me is everybody has this issue. And I want you to think about it like this. I want you to close your eyes and visualize this. I want you to imagine that you just got hired on at a hedge fund. And that hedge fund says, look, here's the deal. You're not going to risk more than 1%, and you're going to trade this system. And if you do this really well and you prove to me that you can do it, I'm going to pay you a lot of money. And I'm going to give you bonuses, and you're going to be really, really happy. But if you overtrade and you risk 3% on a given trade, don't come to work on Monday. Could you imagine that? Could you imagine if tomorrow, if you overtraded and you risked 3% on a trade and 4% of a trade, you just never got to trade again for the rest of your life? I mean, how crazy would that be? That's the reality of institutional traders. They have risk managers. They have people that will literally kick them out of the office and tell them to never come back. So why is it that when we're home traders, retail traders, why is it that we don't respect that? So for you, how do you stop over trading and trade smaller? You need to respect the market. One way you can respect the market more is to actually treat it like a business. Pretend you're at a hedge fund, pretend you're an institutional trader working at a trading desk. 0.98%. Hey, it's profitable, but you know what? Just like what I told this person up here, 0.89% will lead to a drawdown. It's only a matter of time. And that's not me being harsh. That's just reality. And that's why I want you to really begin to think about, how do I build a trading plan? How do I build a system and get that from a 0.89 to maybe a 5? Obviously, let's get it to a 2, and then let's get it to a 4, and maybe we get it to a 5 long term. But we got to start somewhere. And if we don't even know how we're trading, how do we expect to raise the profit factor? And just I cannot stress that enough. So for those of you, again, if you want my help, you can reach out on Discord, reach out on Telegram. Really, if you really want my help, easiest way is to click the Systems Academy link, because we're about a month and a half, maybe 2 months into the program, year-long program. Everything's recorded. And basically, I'm walking individuals through that journey. How do they take their profit factor from a 0.5 or a 1 to maybe a 4 or a 5? Obviously, it does. Just because you join Systems Academy does not mean you're going to go from a 0.5 to a profit factor of 10 in 10 months. That's not what I'm saying at all. But what I am saying is I want to teach the individual. What I am saying is I want to help you build a roadmap in order to go from a 0.5 to 5 or 10. I had an individual last year. They joined Systems Academy late. They were an ex-NFL player. They were very disciplined. And, they had a rocky start in the beginning, but they were able to become reasonably profitable in a couple of months. Reason being, they did exactly what I said, exactly what Ali said. And I think they're an exception. I think they're an exception because of the discipline that individual has. The reality is that's not most people. Most people, I think, even with Systems Academy, it's going to take a year and a half to really figure things out. That's just reality. And that's assuming they figure out all the mental aspects of it. But mental aspects aside, you have to have a trading plan and a trading system. You've got to have metrics to follow the system, and then you have to follow that system. If you can't do any of those three, then the reality is probably won't last forever. So I just want to leave you all with that. For those of you that are interested in Systems Academy, let me just get you to here's the overview page. You can read about it. You can check it out. You can click the link in this video. Just fill out the application, and I'll reach out with next steps. Or if you want to join with James, James is really great as well. He was in my class a couple of years ago when I took it with him and Ali. So anyways, if you never joined Systems Academy, you got to figure out how to take care of those 3 steps I just talked about. You don't have to join Systems Academy to figure it out. But if you want my help, feel free to reach out. All right, guys, I'm going to start doing these maybe once a week, and I'm going to think of various topics that I think will be helpful. Okay, hope everyone has a great rest of their evening, afternoon, or morning, wherever y'all are. Take care.